This podcast is a proud member of Pod Nation Media Network. Listen, here's the truth. If it's not something you love to do, automation is mandatory. You didn't start your podcast to spend hours editing clips. You started it to create, connect, and grow your audience. But here's the problem. Every other platform works with video podcasts, and manual editing eats up your most valuable asset, your time. That's where Opus Clip changes everything. Upload your video, and Opus Clip will automatically find the gold nugget moments, auto-clip the captions for the best parts, perfect for TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. 1 hour-long episode becomes 10, 20, even 30 viral-ready clips in minutes. The tool even predicts each clip's viral potential, so you know exactly what to post. No more tenuous editing, no more wasted hours, just you staying in the place that you love to be, creating content that matters. Head to podnationopus.com for your free trial and get back to doing what you do best. Stop editing and start creating now.
I see ghosts, specters all around me, building a star, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather around me. Where those moonflowers used to rust no more. Specters gather around here, building a star, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Paranormal, the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to, bring a little normalcy to this world. Does it ever happen? Yeah, no. And we're probably not going to get anywhere near normal tonight, but that's all right, because tonight we're going to teach you that normal is not regular. So let's break that matrix tonight and have some fun. My guest, because, I got to bring someone along on this quest with me down the road to normalcy. I almost want to call it the Witch's Road. Been watching all about it. Been watching. Fuck, that's really spread the name. Agatha. I've been watching Agatha all along, so I want to say Witch's Road, but my guest tonight is Kerie Logan, human consciousness expert, author, spiritual advisor, and host of the Master of the Upper Rooms podcast, which I just gotta say I love that podcast name. But welcome, Kerie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome, Jeremy. How are you this lovely evening?
Well, I just got back from urgent care. Some lung issues going on, so I am, after this podcast, running to CVS to get my prescriptions. But I am otherwise doing pretty damn okay. I'll live. I'm used to it. It's a twice-a-year freaking thing with having asthma and being a smoker. So you get pretty damn used to it. But first things first, the question I ask everybody that comes on this show: what brought you down this path of spirituality, paranormal, whatever you want to call it?
Well, actually, what brought me down the path, I would say first had to start with my mom, because my mom, when I was born and raised in California, grew up in the Bay Area, and my mom was a member of the Inner Peace movement, and that was from Berkeley, California. And she was very, very spiritual. And she even was in a 11 by 17 ad, or let's say newspaper article, of how she could do readings with people wherever they lived. And she was like 85% accurate. The Marin Independent Journal tested her to see, how accurate she was. And she was really good at it. So she was the start of waking me up to spirituality, to reading books about creative visualization, your word is your wand, the golden path. I was centered around people that were channeling, which was really cool. And in 2012, I woke up one morning and was guided to, you're going to write this book. And here's the table of contents. This is what you're going to talk about. And go to your computer and we're going to get this book going. And I just sat there and I typed away what I was being, guidance I was receiving. And what was very fascinating, in the first 3 to 4 chapters, I shared it with a friend of mine that worked as a social worker at UC Davis Medical Center. And she said, how do you know this? You don't have a degree in psychology or psychiatry. You don't have this, but this is all the stuff that's in my continued education book. How do you know this? And I was just like, this is just what I'm being told. And so there was one part, I remember in chapter 3, it was about your emotions. And what I was being told was every emotion has a vibrational, energetic set point. And I wanted to see, is that true? Because if I'm going to write about this, I want to fact check it. And I actually did find out that Dr. Hawkins did the clinical trials for the map of human consciousness. There are 17 levels of human consciousness. All of us have it. So there is 3D, 4D, and 5D. And when I wanted to, and what I was told is everyone should align with love. If you want to live a life of joy and happiness and thrive, you want to align with the frequency of love. And so I started coaching people off of what I was taught. And I had people have amazing things happen. I mean, one woman who's on the Gaia channel now that has worked with royalty and all these people, I coached her with this technique of human consciousness. And she attracted an investor that in 18 months gave her $9.8 million. Yeah. I have worked with a man that had pancreas cancer and had it happen twice. The doctor said, you have 30 days to figure something out, because he didn't want to do radiation or chemo again. He went to me because I am a clinical certified hypnotherapist. I made him a recording. I said, if you listen to this and you do it, you can heal your body. And in 30 days, he went back to the doctor and the cancer was gone.
Holy fuck, that's incredible.
And I've used this, and there's a woman that I've worked with off and on for over 10 years. I helped her manifest her husband using this technique. She contacted me several months ago saying, we've been trying to have a baby for the last year and a half. Can you help me? And I told her, well, this is what you've been doing wrong, because she was stuck in 3D consciousness. She was stuck in fear and anxiety and frustration, hormone replacement, therapy, IVF, sperm count, all that. But long story short, I made her a custom recording. She listened to it for 30 days. And she just emailed me last week saying, after listening to it for 30 days, she's pregnant. And now she's 13 weeks pregnant now. And she's expecting her first child, a daughter, in April. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, shit. Oh, actually, all right. Apparently, my wife and I did that on our own, because we tried for a long time to get pregnant with no luck. And then my wife is now 8 months pregnant. So apparently but that was the key. We stopped
forcing it.
Exactly. We stopped focusing on it. My wife shed her tears, and we accepted the fact that may never happen. And once that happened, guess what? Oh, I'm pregnant. What now?
Yeah. And I will explain the whole logic and the whole science behind it, because it really does work. And a lot of times when I do my work is I sit in front of my microphone, I connect to the person, I connect to spirit, whatever is up there, and I literally have no script, and I say, what do you want me to say to this person? And I will sit in front of my mic and I will just channel, and I will let it come out of me, whatever it wants to say for this person to change. And it's amazing. Everyone is just like, how do you do this? Even my husband's like, how do you do this? And I said, it's just a part of me. And I believe why I was selected to do this is there's no judgment. There's no shame. There's no making a person feel bad about themselves. It's all about, for me, it's all about love. How can I make your life better? What can I do to get you unstuck?
which by itself is an honorable mission. I mean, that right there, if there's anything I learned about this universe, those who serve without any selfishness usually can get the results they look for. And I 100% am behind this. But, well, before we go down the road to how you do it, let's explain to my listeners, for those who don't know, the differences between what is 3D consciousness, what is 4D, and what is 5D. I mean, we need to kind of, open that doorway first before we jump into the full door.
Okay. So let me unpack 3D, because a lot of people, and this is not to be mean or anything, but when we first evolved as a species, we were all in 3D human consciousness. It's all about survival. Okay. All about survival. And the lowest form of human consciousness ranges at the frequency of 20, and that is shame. Shame, humiliation, embarrassment. No one likes to feel that way. Nobody. And bullies, when bullies want to get you, what do? They shame you.
Shame.
They humiliate you. Yeah, that's their weapon. That's their secret weapon, because that's the lowest energetic form, and no one likes to feel shame. The next one is guilt. And a lot of people, and that's where blame. You're going to have kids. Kids do blame games. They're like, he did it. No, she did it. They're always pointing the fingers. Okay. And so guilt vibrates at 30. And in there is also evilness, people that are vindictive. Okay. The next one up is despair. That's at 50. Hopelessness, condemning. And that's a frequency nobody likes to feel. No one likes to feel despair or regret. 75, and that's 75. So, sorry. Let me go down. So 20 is shame. Guilt is 30. Despair is 50. Regret is 75. And that's also grief. Okay. Grief is a horrible thing. And depression and sadness live at that level. The next one up at 100 is fear. Fear and anxiety. And a lot of people have fear. Fear that this person's going to steal my money. Fear that I don't have enough money. People that are stuck in lack and are always complaining are coming from a place of fear. I don't have enough. Okay. And then you move up even higher to 125. And that has to do with lust and desire and cravings. Now, a lot of people say, hold on. A lot of people say, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with it is you're viewing a person as an object.
Yep.
Nobody likes to be objectified. And a lot of dating apps right now are so superficial. Swipe, you're an object.
Oh.
I want you or I don't want you.
I am in a group on Facebook for mainly comedy purposes, but it's called Single Moms Overestimate Their Market Value. And the reason I'm in it is because the posts I see of these moms dating app profiles are fucking ridiculous. Like, literally saw one today. Oh, I got 12 kids, 7 different baby daddies. But I need a man who can do this and do that. And I'm like, who do you think you are? I'm like, you are not going to get anybody you want with a profile like that. Like, don't even advertise your fucking kids. Put that on the side and then like introduce them later. Like, Jesus, what is wrong with people? Like, you really feel the need to put that shit out front? Like, you're not going to get anybody except maybe some P. Diddy loving motherfucker. Like, besides that, you're not going to get anybody.
Seriously, that's what she's looking for, because what you're talking about is the next level up, which is 175. And that's the last one for 3D consciousness. That is pride. That's vanity. That is your egotistical, demanding side. No, I want a man like this. This man's going to do this for me.
I literally have seen ones where it says, must be willing to let me move in immediately. I'm like, excuse me? You're not gonna get any partner that way. Like, Jesus. Like, oh my God. Like, must be willing to let me and my kid move in with you immediately. Any man who does that, I would be calling the cops on. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. So all of that is 3D human consciousness. And we see all those behaviors with kids. You see it with teenagers. You really do. And a lot of times people that are very prideful and egotistical use denial as a get out of jail card. They use it. They will totally deny because they don't want to feel shame. They don't want to feel the lowest vibration. They don't want to be exposed. So they gaslight, they blame shift, they stonewall. And all of those, let's say, toxic behaviors are all 3D human consciousness. All of it.
Let me ask you a question. Where do narcissists fall on this scale?
They fall in, well, actually, a lot of them fall in the level of anger. And anger is, where's anger? Anger is at 150, and that has to do with anger and hate and vengefulness. And here's the truth that I'll let all of you guys know is, and I know a lot about narcissism, a lot. And one night I was lying in bed, and
we need to talk, but yes.
And what speaks to me said, do you know you humans create narcissistic people? Yeah, literally heard that. And I was like, what the hell? And so I researched it, and I even talked to my son's psychologist, and he said to me, bingo, how did you know? And I was not going to tell him, oh, some higher, consciousness told me, that we create them. And so when I had that information, I would go out and tell people, well, we need to accept responsibility for that because they are created out of abuse, by being bullied, out of trauma, and 3 different parenting styles. The parenting styles is an authoritarian parent, a neglectful parent, or an absent parent.
See, it's funny because I've been dealing with a narcissist for the last about a year and a couple months.
Really?
And yeah.
I'll show you something. So sometimes I'm told to draw things. Like I've done presentations and I've been to like certain spiritual fairs and people are like, oh my God, you got this from above. So this is going to show you how their mind works.
Ooh.
You can see it. This here is our typical brain. Okay, let me move it this way. This is your typical brain development. This is your cortex brain. All right. That's where you have empathy, literacy, values, morals. All right. And our survival is way down here. But for someone that has trauma or is narcissistic, their cortex brain is right up here. They're all about survival, the fight, flight, and freeze. So what happens to them when they get triggered, they drop from here down to there and they just go off of their behaviors. They don't know. They have to learn to control it. So basically when I've done my talks, I've had narcissist people actually come up to me and thank me for helping them understand their brain, to help them understand themselves, because every single person has confessed this truth, that they can feel the difference when they're starting to slip. And they're starting to get angry. And I've told them, well, think of that as a crossroad. You have a choice to either, if you care about that person, say, hey, I really care about you. I'm getting triggered. I need to walk away and calm down. I said, if you don't do that, you're going to use your words like a machete knife and you're going to cut into them and you're going to leave scars. Is that fair?
Nope, it's not, because I've seen it happen multiple times now, and we can talk more about this. We can talk more about that after the recording, though, because I can't say certain things on recordings about that. But
I do on the website Master the Upper Rooms, under free stuff, there's 3 different ebooks that are free. One talks about 3D human consciousness, what is the 4D, 5D, and then there's one called how to communicate with difficult people. It's the sandwich approach. And everyone has loved that technique because it teaches you how to communicate with toxic people.
When you say sandwich approach, I'm guessing you mean like start off with something neutral or positive and then put the negative in between and do neutral positive again?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. And you never use you statements. You only use I. and you never say but. You never say but, because it would be like me saying, hey, Jeremy, you're an awesome dude, but I hate it when you do this. So you're not going to hear your.
Well, we got a freeze, folks. Hold on a second. I'm sure she'll self-correct. Come on, spirits. Help her
I came
connect.
back.
There we go. See, the spirits work in miraculous ways, folks.
That's right. So, yes. So let me explain what 4D is, because this is what happens to all of us when we have to eventually adult. Okay. We got to be, better people. We got to rise above the hate, anger, and fear. So what I like to tell people is practice baseline first. Baseline is courage, which is at 200. And that is you feel empowered. All right. And baseline is 250, which is neutrality. That is where you're feasible and flexible, and you're able to see both sides of the perspective. Because someone stuck in 3D human consciousness, everything is black and white. There is no gray area. There's no compromise. But in 4D, neutrality is where you're able to see things differently. You're not just black and white. And so what I tell people is, learn to be content and satisfied with your life, wherever it is. Stop telling your sad story. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop, holding the victim card. Hold on to courage and set healthy boundaries. Find your voice. Feel better about yourself and work on that for 30 days, because it takes 28 to 30 days to create a new habit, a new way of thinking. So if you can just master baseline in the beginning, that's ideal for you. Okay. I mean, like we talk about money. Lots of people complain about money. I don't have enough money. Well, stop complaining about it and appreciate what you do have. Like, I got clean food. I got clean water. I got clean clothing. I have clothing that doesn't have holes in it. I got a repeated paycheck every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it that
See,
way. Yeah.
That's why I love that, because it's like, yeah, I struggle with financial issues a lot. I mean, but I look at it as, I always say to my wife, I'm like, we will get the money somehow. We will work it out somehow. The universe will make it work. I mean, I 100% believe manifestation is a real thing, and it's proven itself to me multiple times. So, I mean, if I need the money to fix something in my house, guess what? It's gonna magically freaking appear out of nowhere and start fixing
Yep.
and like my house is gonna get fixed. Like, I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't know when, but it 100% will happen. I have a full belief in that. Yeah, I may bitch my money here and there, but I mean, I don't ever like just do it all day. Like, it's just like a once in a while type thing. I mean, you gotta believe that the universe is gonna look out for you.
Well, and it really does, because I've always told people, when it comes to manifesting, I never focus on the money. I focus on what it's going to give me and what it's going to do for me. So like for you, you could I'll basically, I'll tell you when we get to the sweet spot of how you manifest. So let me move on up. So after neutrality, 310 is willingness and optimism. It's where you're hopeful, you're inspiring. And then up above that is 350 is forgiveness. And it's where you can accept people for who you are. So a good way to show how society has shifted out of 3D human consciousness into 4D is we've embraced people that are gay, that have different sexual preferences. We're being more open-minded about it. It's not like so taboo.
And folks, I'm sorry if you saw me crack a smile at that. It's not. I have nothing against gay people. I freaking have a lot of friends I have friends who are gay. But the reason I'm smiling is because I just had to listen to. I just brought Book of Mormon soundtrack to my other podcast, my music podcast, and there's a song in there called "I Believe," where they go through all the different Mormon beliefs, and literally one of them is like, I believe in 1978 that God finally saved black people. Like, it's just that's what it made me think of that, and I was like fucking dying laughing in my head because of that. So, folks, I don't want you to make you think. I don't want you to think I'm homophobic or anything. I'm not. I have a lot of gay friends. I have no problem with anybody because of their orientation. So, Just want to put it
But
out there.
see, probably 50 years ago, if you were born in that generation 50 or 60 years ago, you probably wouldn't be.
Oh, I used to make fun of them when I was a freaking kid because that's the generation I was brought up in.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
To be gay was basically a villain at that point. And I mean,
Yeah.
my father would make fun of them. My mother was all surprised in the late 2000s to find out that her doctor she's been going to for years was a homosexual. And I was like, I even said to her at that point, I'm like, why does it matter? He's your doctor. You don't date him. It's not like you find out a guy you're dating is homosexual. Like, what's the difference?
Right. Well, and when it comes to forgiveness, a lot of people get stuck and they're just like, I can't forgive that person. I hate that person. And my logic is, well, if you can't forgive them, then they still are living rent-free in your mind. And they can die and you still are stuck. You know, you got to evict them eventually. When are you going to evict them? Because forgiveness is not for that person. It's for you. So
I mean,
yeah,
it's also not about forgiveness. It's about acceptance. Like whether you forgive them or not, I don't give a shit whether you forgive them. You accept them for who they are. Otherwise, you're a horrible person in my mind.
I mean, look at it this way. If they're a complete asshole, accept they're a complete asshole and just let it go.
Yep.
Yeah. So then after that, it's 400 has to do with reason. That's where you find understanding. You got wisdom. And as you can see, as we mature and grow as adults, we start to work in all those areas of finding courage to speak our truth, finding where we can be satisfied and content with life, where we accept people for who they are, and try not to be so judgmental. And so where the sweet spot is when you transition into 5D, that has to do with love. That vibrates at 500. And it's not sappy love. It's where you just really love that person. And we've had moments where, let's say you have a dog or a cat, a pet, you love that pet. You could go on a vacation and you're in a tropical island and you love that area. It just fills you, with that feeling of love and joy. Because after that, at 540 is joy. And the next one up is 600 is peace. You have, and also with peace is bliss. So let's say when you fall in love, you have joy in your heart. You have happiness. You're full of bliss. I mean, it's like life is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. And that's the frequency and vibration that you're feeling is those emotions. It's not anything. And that's the thing is love is unconditional. And people that are stuck in 3D human consciousness, no, love it. Love has conditions. Either you do this for me or I don't love you.
I mean, which is right there is toxic as could be. I mean, if no matter how much my wife and I may fight at times, I still find joy in her presence, and I still get sad when she's not around because she's mad at me, she's in the other room or something. Like it brings me down. Like I know it does, and I will do everything in my power to make it go back to the pure joy stage because I know it's not healthy to live like that. Like it's all about control over your emotions. I mean, at the end of the day, it's control over your emotions, control over your mentality. Like you can't, if someone at work pisses you off that day, don't go home and put holes in your walls or do something stupid because you're pissed off someone at work. On your drive home, just freaking let it go. Like whatever, tomorrow will be a better day with them. Like, or you can hope. It might not be, but you can hope, and you could say that it will be, and then maybe it will be because manifestation, it works.
Well, and people, as you know, sometimes stay working at a job that they really hate, but it pays well. But then you got to ask yourself, is it really worth the money of being miserable every day?
Nope. I had a man on this podcast, Kellen McCullen. He is a well-known life coach at this point, but he used to be a CEO of a company and make more money than I could ever dream to have. But he was also an addict, and he was abandonment of his children and all this stuff. And he had a near-death experience, and it made him realize he's living his life wrong. It made him realize that he's just the universe gave him that experience because he needed to realize, like, you're not doing things right. Like, just because you're making money doesn't mean you're happy, doesn't mean you're a good person. It means you're just making money. I mean, and money, as much as we like to say it, money can't buy happiness. It really can't. I mean, I've I've been happier in the last 3 years with my wife after buying a house and basically being at points where I am negative in my bank account almost every freaking week of the year. But I am still happier than I was single with money because I had money, but I was alone. Nobody gave a fuck if I was alive. Nobody gave a fuck if I was existing. So, I mean, it's about happiness at the end of the day. It's about what your soul, what your heart, what your spirit, whatever you want to call it, desires.
It is. And so when it comes to the sweet spot of manifesting, that is the range between love all the way up to pure enlightenment, which is 700 to 1,000. And so what I tell people is when you rise above it all and you focus on what you do want to manifest and you put all your heart and emotions in it, you visualize it, you put it out there in the universe, and then you let it go. So a good example and that I'll give you is I literally for 2 years used to teach a law of attraction class. And then I got tired of teaching it. I said, let's do it. And in 10 months, I manifested over 22 things my heart desired. And I wrote a book about it. And that's the book that I channeled. It's called Affirming and Focusing on Living a Better Life. And there's a story in there where I had separated from my son's father and I could not rent a house. I could only rent like a 2-bedroom townhouse, and my office was in the living room. It was horrible. It was the worst experience. And I knew that I didn't have money for a deposit and I was stuck there. So I put out there in the universe that I'm going to manifest a house. And this is the timeline. I want to move in. And what I told the universe is I'm going to use U-Haul trucks, any moving truck, as a sign, a confirmation that it's coming. Give me a confirmation. So every time I would see a moving truck, I would go, yes, I'm moving. I love moving. I love packing. And I'd see my 2 kids happy in their bedrooms, just full of joy. Well, I would say a couple of weeks later, I was sitting down with someone that was wanting me to teach this law of attraction class. And I saw in a half an hour time period, 8 to 10 moving trucks. And he stopped me and he said, what are you doing? I know you're doing something. It's just, what are you doing? And I told him I'm working on manifesting the house. I'm working on, getting this. I don't have the deposit, but this is my goal. And he looked at me and he said, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. And I was like, no, I'm going to make it happen. And that's the thing is when it comes to money, sometimes don't tell people if they're going to derail you, because that's exactly what he tried to do. Well, I went on vacation with one of my best friends and my kid. And at the end of the vacation, my friend said to me, and she didn't know about what I was manifesting either. She said, I saved more than enough money for this vacation. And I wanted to know if you could use this. And she handed me an envelope with $1,500 in it. And I went, yes, that's my deposit. And there it was. It was just handed to me. And when I was visualizing it, the universe showed me that there would be a playroom above the garage. And the only place I looked at did have a playroom above the garage. And that was the house I moved into.
Well, there you go. I mean, that right there is, it's not, I talk a lot on this show about fate. And I mean, I am a true believer that we are all fated to have certain things go our way, that fate chooses the path for the most part that we live in life, whether we want to or not. My famous metaphor in this show is, I don't know if you've ever seen the Disney movie Hercules, but
Yes.
when the 3 fates are cutting the cords, there's those gold cords that they can't cut, and I think those are our real lives. Those are what we live. Those are the things we can't change. All the other cords can easily be cut. Those are the ones that we can't change. We're destined to have certain things happen to us that we can't change, no matter how bad we fuck up, no matter how bad we try to drive away from that. That's going to happen in life. We're going to do this. Like, did I ever see myself starting a podcast? You asked me that 5 years ago. I would have said, no. I just like to listen to them. But fate kind of handed me things, and eventually fate just said, like, it's time to start your own podcast. And I couldn't figure out what the hell to do it on for a while. And I was like, you know what? I like the paranormal. Let's do paranormal. And whether this is not purely a paranormal podcast by any fucking means. No way in hell. I know that. I admit that. We're not talking about Bigfoot and aliens every freaking episode. And I'm fine with that. Because human nature in the universe is part of the paranormal because it's things we don't fully understand.
Right.
So,
Because in my work, I've had loved ones come in where a client is sitting in that chair over there, and I'll say something at the end of the session. I'm like, who was the one that wanted me to say to you that, you know, you're my sweetie pie? And the woman started crying. It was like, that's my grandmother. Yeah, I've had loved ones come in. I even had a Catholic nun that came to me because she had really bad PTSD, and someone in the community told her about me. And while she was sitting in that chair, she was like, at the end of the session, do you know God talks to you? And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, well, when you sat in front of your mic, everything you were saying, I saw it before you even said it. How do you do that? And I told her, well, when I connect to you and connect to, you want to call God that talks to you, they show me like a movie what to say to you. They specifically tell me what to say. And she was like, it blew her mind. And in 2 sessions, her PTSD was gone. I've worked with veterans where it's been 1 session and their PTSD is gone.
that's
because
incredible.
They know what to say to you. And I'm just the vessel. I'm the conduit, I like to say, you know. It's all here to help you. You know, how can I help you?
I mean, it's like I said before, what you do is a blessing and a miracle. I mean, it really is, and but it's also what you're destined to do, and you're doing your destiny, and it's working for people because of that. You're not trying to fight it. You're not trying to say I need to have a 9-to-5 job in the office. No, you know exactly what you need to do, and it's working for you because of that. But I did get us off topic here, and I apologize for that. But because I'm kind of curious to see what 5D consciousness really means.
Well, 5D is where you have embodied the essence of a loving, kind human being. You're not faking it. You're not masking it. You're not pretending it. You're not advertising it. You embody it. You are loving to all human beings. You are loving to the planet. You are loving to animals. You are respectful. You use all the tools in the 4D consciousness. You do have wisdom and reason, and you appreciate the joyful moments. You appreciate the peaceful moments. And because we do fluctuate, but that's the whole thing, is you embody it. So when you think about, let's say, the Dalai Lama, he's 5D. He embodies it. He is a loving presence being. He is a joyful person. He is a peaceful person. He knows what it feels to have pure enlightenment. He's not a cult leader. Well, I have the answer for you. You know what I mean?
I mean, 100%. I mean, as we talk about these people all the time in this show, but I mean, folks, if you look at Charles Manson, Jim Jones, take a name of a cult leader, they all were living a 3D consciousness. They were not living anything beyond that. They didn't care about other people. They cared about themselves and getting themselves higher up, and they just stepped on people to get there. And they didn't get there because of that. They just thought they did because of the drugs or because of the false bravado of power. But
right. And that's the thing, is everything in 3D consciousness is all about force. And it's a false sense of force because you're manipulating and trying to control or dominate other people. And that's not free will.
Nope, that's not free. It's not free will at all. I mean, you're basically violating everything that free will offers if you do that. You're basically trying to imprison this person in what your minds have, that the life they should live. And as someone who's had someone try and do that to them for over a year now, you're not succeeding, buddy, because I don't let you get in my head like that. I don't let you get in my wife's head like that. Like, it's not going to work. Like, it's just, you're stuck in 3D. I am humble enough to admit I'm not 5D. I know that. Not yet, at least. Someday, maybe. But I'm definitely in the 4D somewhere because I know who I am. I know what I do for this world, and I am willing to admit that. But I am also humble enough not to say, oh, yeah, I reached 5D. I'm like, no, I'm not the level of the fucking Dalai Lama. Come on now. I have my faults. Everybody has their faults, and I definitely have mine, but I am
Yeah.
not no 5D. I mean, I'm in the 4D. If I'm being maybe even a little too, maybe I'm not being humble enough because maybe I'm not in 4D yet. Maybe I'm working my way there, but
Well, and
I think I am.
that's why I tell people work on courage and work on neutrality where you're just satisfied and content with life. Really work on that. And when you have moments where someone triggers you or you get stuck with anxiety, fear, or any of those lower ones, stop and rise above it. Because what happens is when you can get triggered by someone, it's almost like you're jumping on that hamster wheel. And you start
Yep.
spinning, and you start spinning, and you start spinning, and you lie in bed and you're trying to go to sleep, and your brain is still spinning, it's still spinning. And you got to just dump the garbage and let it
See,
go, rise above it.
that right there is why I think I'm in 4D. I have never had a trouble falling asleep in my fucking life. I have never let anybody bother me that much where I have trouble falling asleep. Yeah, as soon as I lay my head down, I'm passing the freak out. And I mean, it's just the way it goes because nobody is going to make me lose sleep. Nobody can bring me down that much. And I know that. And that right there is why I say I'm 4D because I mean, that is the perfect example because I just don't let it happen. I mean, people in my life let that happen to them and I try to sway them out of that, but it's hard. It's easier said than done. That's for sure.
Well, and it's true because some people like even could be stuck in the 3D where they doubt themselves. And that's where a lot of core child wounds start is where I'm not good enough. I don't matter. I'm unimportant. My opinion doesn't matter. And so people can lose sleep over that, where they made an error in judgment and they're beating themselves up. Literally, we say things, that inner critic is so harsh and so mean. We say things to ourselves we'd never say to our partner or our best friend, but we do. We bash ourselves all the time, and we got to stop it and just be satisfied with who you are. Just be content with who you are. You're perfectly imperfect because no one's perfect.
No one's perfect, and we are, like you said, we are all our own worst critics. That's 100% true. I mean, well, okay, maybe not me because I have an ego issue where I think I'm perfect no matter what. But as my listeners damn well know by now, I think I'm perfect in so many ways, and I know I'm not. Part of me knows I'm not, but the main part of my brain says, "Oh, you're amazing. You're just keep doing you." But I don't know. It's a inner battle that I deal with every day of my life. But
No, I would say, hey, you are amazing. I mean, go with that. I'd rather you feel and know that you're amazing and you're not hurting anybody than being egotistical and like, well, I'm better than you. No one likes a person like that.
that was me in high school and college. And I've matured and accelerated since then to a more blissful place in this earth, I will say. But I don't think I'm above anybody. I do I have my opinions on everything on this earth? Oh God, freaking yes, and nobody wants to hear them. But I do have my opinions, and I'm telling you, podcasters out there, give me in a politics show and we'll talk. But I don't do that on my show, so I ain't doing that shit. But because nobody would want to listen to my show anymore if I went to politics. But
I don't talk about politics either. With what's going on in our country right now, I'm just like, they kind of both suck. So let's just agree on that.
I believe South Park coined the term best. It's an election between a douchebag and between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. We're not winning either way. We're not winning either fucking way. It's just the lesser of two evils at this point. And good luck to you deciding which one's the lesser of two evils, because I fucking have a hard time deciding. So, yeah, I mean, it's a giant douche and a turd sandwich. As South Park put it. Thank you, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. You guys are fucking geniuses. But I mean, it's just... Yeah, I mean, and this is the biggest problem, is that life tries to bring us down, whether it be politics, whether it be, oh, look, this new dock worker strike going on. That's going to affect my work. That's going to affect I already saw a post today about how people are hoarding toilet paper and paper towels because, COVID habits die hard. And because now they're worried they're not going to get them in anymore. So, I mean, it's just life tries to bring us down. That's the thing. The universe, I mean, I don't even want to say it's the universe, but kind of part of it is. I mean, it's kind of the universe trying to bring us down in some ways. I mean, maybe it's a test. Maybe it's just a test to see how we handle it. But there's going to be those who handle it horribly, and they're going to affect everybody else.
Yes,
Am I wrong?
and I look at it is you got to make the choice. Do you want to be stuck in fear? Because that's what happens is people that are stuck in fear are going out now hoarding toilet paper, hoarding this, hoarding that, and there should be enough for everyone to get along. Everyone. It's like when I remember when COVID first came out, this dude bought so much hand sanitizer, his whole garage was full of it. I mean, it was just like crazy how people and they were going to profit off it. Oh, I'm going to profit off this pandemic by selling overpriced,
Which people like that, if there is a hell, I hope you burn the deepest fires of it. But the universe will give you your due because you are profiting off human misery. That's all you're doing is profiting off human misery. And you are there. You're not even 3D consciousness in my mind. You're 2D consciousness. You're fucking negative because you don't deserve it. You're just horrible. I mean, who would do that? I mean, yes, okay. If I see a collectible in a store that I know is worth money and there's a shitload of them in the store at a discount, will I buy those collectibles to sell on eBay? Maybe. But guess what? That's not affecting anybody's well-being. That's just me running the market the way I want to run the market. Like right. that's not no one needs collectibles to survive. So right. I mean it's horrible. I mean, I remember like you could buy a 6-pack of toilet paper on Amazon for $150. Yeah, fuck you. I'll wipe my ass with goddamn leaves from the trees before I pay that much for toilet paper. Like, come on, Jesus. It's just sad. It's just sad the way that humans get so desperate and then they see a way to make money off it and they fucking take it because they think it's going to advantage them. Guess what? Anybody that knows you're doing that thinks less of you than they ever did before, and you are now public enemy number one to a lot of people. So good luck living with yourself, and the universe will give you karma because I'm a big believer in karma. So you'll get your karma. I guarantee you got COVID 20 times in that first year because of that.
Well, it is true. What comes around goes around. So it's you and a lot of people, aren't mindful because there's that saying, if you're going to seek revenge, you should dig 2 holes, one for you and one for the other person.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, that's the reason I haven't dug a hole yet and seek revenge against somebody because it's just going to lead to my downfall. And I know that. So I'm going to let the system eventually start working for me whenever it decides to take a sweet ass time and do that. But it's going to start working for me eventually. And I think that time has come. I was told by some mediums and psychics that September would be a turnaround. And we did get some news in September that might be a turnaround if it's played right. I don't know. I'm working on that. But hopefully my psychic friends I had on my show were right, and they basically just gave us a win. But we'll see come January. I don't know shit till then, so I'm not going to I do. But you have a technique I want to talk about because you have the Master of the Upper Rooms technique, and I want to hear all about that because I mean, obviously you know what the fuck you're talking about. This I know that by 47 minutes in, you know what the fuck you're talking about, and I want to hear what your technique is to deal with life.
So the technique that I do is I was told, create this image, and it shows all the steps that I was just, talking about. Because you have to think about it is you're walking up steps. Okay. So the bottom one is shame. Then there's guilt. Then there's despair, regret, anxiety. So when I coach people, and I'll give you an example. I was coaching this one gentleman and we're going to talk about narcissism again. His ex-wife was a narcissist, and he was married to her for 20 years and was stuck in hate, anger, and fear. And he was just so mad, and he was trying to date again and having a horrible experience. And he was stuck in blaming all these women, why can't, da, da, da. And I looked at him and I said, well, you could have love now. You literally could have love now if you want. And he's like, how is that possible? I said, well, right now you're stuck in blame. You're trying to blame these other people. But from what I've got from you is what I figured out first was I asked him, because when I said you could align with love, I said, have you ever experienced unconditional love from anybody? Have you? Do you know what unconditional love feels like? And he said, yes. My mom loved me unconditionally. She was amazing. She passed away, and I miss her dearly. And I said, okay, one, you're blessed because you had that experience, because most people don't know what unconditional love is. There's always conditions. So you were blessed. So what happened to you is you went off to college, you got love bombed, and she love bombed you so well, you married that woman. And as you know, their pattern is to love bomb you, then devalue you and discard you. So she discarded you. And now you're trying to date again. But the problem is you enjoy being love bombed. So I pretty much guarantee you're going out trying to love bomb these other women that you're meeting. And these other women just want an emotional connection. They want to be friends with you first. They don't want to jump in the sack. They don't want a superficial relationship. They don't want that. And so I moved him out of the blame. Stop blaming these women. I moved him out of the regret about his marriage to his wife, regrets about dating. And then I moved him up out of fear by basically saying, you can have love now. You're just going about it the wrong way. And I moved him up into desire because he did desire to have a meaningful relationship with someone. He felt like he lost a good part of his life. And so from there, I took him up to anger. And I said, well, right now I can tell you're good and angry about, this whole experience, but that's just temporary. And then I boomed him up into courage. And I said, I want you to have the courage to view your ex-wife differently because she was created that way. And I pretty much guarantee you she had a horrible childhood, right? And he was like, yep, her parents were garbage. And I said, okay, well, you knew that. But at the time when you married her, you didn't know what a narcissist was. You didn't know what love bombing was. You didn't know anything. You just fell in love with this person. And I said, so I want you to accept that you grew up in a beautiful home environment where you were loved unconditionally and she was raised in hell. Can you have compassion for her? Can you have forgiveness for her? Because she never did the work on herself. She never cleaned up her past traumas. So all her traumas came out and just bled into the marriage and ruined it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. That did happen. So I could see the wheels spinning in his head that he was starting to be able to forgive her and accept her for who she is and what she is. And from that, it bumps up to reasoning, understanding, and wisdom. And so he was right below the level of love, right below the level. And I said, if you can forgive her, that's a huge gift you're giving yourself and you're giving her, because now you no longer will hate her. You'll actually have mercy and pity for her. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I said, so when you meet these other women, tell them that you're sorry. Apologize and say, I didn't realize this is what I was doing. I still want to be friends with you because I really, really like you. And I want to establish an emotional connection first. I said, if you can have the wisdom and strength and courage to do that, I guarantee you the right woman will appreciate you and respect you and be like, yes. And he did that. He literally did that. And he's like, you know what? I feel good about this. I feel joyful about this. This makes sense. And that whole conversation just took 20 minutes. And he was like, how did you do that? He's like, what did you just do? I now have forgiven my ex-wife and I'm hopeful about, he was like, what the hell did you just do? And I said, I walked you up every single step. and I shifted your consciousness. I shifted your perspective. And he started laughing, and he's like, you got me laughing and happy. How the hell do you do that? And I said, I just shifted your perspective and you went along with it. You didn't dig in your heels into your ego or pride. You were willing to view both sides of the coin. You weren't stuck in black and white thinking. You allowed me to shift your perspective each step of the way, which supported you. And so now think about it is you have this ball of clay or yarn, actually better say ball of yarn. I just unraveled it for you. And now when you talk to your ex-wife, she won't hook into you because you know who and what she is. You've forgiven her and you're moving on with your life.
See, that right there, folks. Where the hell were you when I was in my 20s? Jesus Christ. God, I had so many gold diggers and abusers in my life in my 20s that I was one of those guys who, when I first started talking to a girl, it got to, D pics and kind of see pics of you within literally, a day or two, because I didn't know any better. When I finally met my wife on a dating app, I met my wife on a dating app called Zeusk, and it finally got to the point where she actually asked me a couple weeks in, a few weeks in, whatever. She was like, you're the guy that's gone the longest without sending me a pic of his D. And I'm like, oh, if you want it, it's yours. But I'm like, I don't like to force on people anymore because I learned my lesson. And it instead of 20 minutes, it took me 10 fucking years to learn that lesson because I just was at that state. I was at that state of mind. That's the way it was. Like I was used and abused by so many women in my teenage years, early 20s, that I developed a nasty mindset towards the female gender in general because I was that. And see, where were people like you in my 20s? Jesus Christ, I could have found love a lot earlier than I did. But, oh well, it ain't nothing I can do about it now, and that's all that matters. But,
right.
I love it. I fucking love it. I mean, the work you do is truly fucking amazing, and God, I wish I met you fucking 15 years ago. I really do.
I hear that all the time from so many people. Like there was one gentleman, this is pretty amazing testimonial, where this guy, when he was in his 20s, he was raped by two men in an alleyway. And he was so traumatized, he could not be around men at all. He struggled with men at work. He struggled being in social networking environments with men. And the guy didn't contact me until he was like in his 60s. And I said, okay, I know exactly what to do for you. I made him a custom recording. He listened to it and he's like, oh my God, I wish I would have done this 30 years ago. He's like, he was completely free of that whole trauma. And that's the beautiful thing I tell people is we can get unstuck. There are ways you can shift your consciousness and get unstuck. And why I like to do recordings, and you're going to get this. I know you're going to get this because you're a smoker. So all smokers know consciously, I shouldn't smoke. It's bad for my health. It is a stick of death. It makes me go to the emergency room twice a year. But
Amen. Amen. I was just at urgent care because that. Yeah, exactly.
So your subconscious mind, which is just like your computer, the operating system, you taught it. I'm a smoker. When I'm stressed, I smoke. When I'm bored, I smoke. When I want to get away from someone and hate smokers, I'll take a cigarette. You can use cigarettes in so many ways. But here's the thing is when you listen to, let's say, hypnotherapy for quit smoking, consciously you have a green light, but back here it's red. Okay. So when you slow down your brainwave patterns and you open up the doorway to your subconscious mind, when you're listening to someone talking like me, and I say, there's always something better to do than smoke, consciously you're going, yes, there is always something better to do. And in that moment, your subconscious mind is listening and it goes, oh, that's what you want me to do. I've been doing ABC. Now you want me to do XYZ. Let me change the operating system for you. So that's what's beautiful is it becomes automatic. Like I said about 5D human consciousness, you become it, you embody it, you become a non-smoker. No matter what happens, whatever situation life brings you, you handle it without cigarettes, and you get that embedded back here. And it
See,
works.
it's funny. It's funny because I just literally had a doctor an hour ago. Well, actually, 2 hours ago now. Give me a lecture over addiction versus habit when it comes to smoking and and how to break it. And I was like, I mean, the whole time my conscience was like, yeah, you're right. I know you're right.
Yep.
But my subconscious, fuck, let me out of here. Fuck, let me out of here. I want a cigarette. But as I mean, it's just, and it's a horrible habit. It really is. It's hard to break. I broke it once and I never should have went back to it, but I went back to it, and it's been 8 years now since I went back to it. And yeah, you're 100% right. I get sick twice a year. I get pneumonia or something similar, and I freaking am coughing up shit for weeks until I finally go to the doctor, and then I get steroids and gets rid of it, and then 6 months later it comes back. Like it's just I mean it's a seasonal change thing. It's what it is, but it happens. Like the warm to cold, the cold to warm, like freaking messes with your body when you're a smoker. So I 100% get what you're saying, and someday,
Well, I tell people there's a difference between I want a cigarette or I need a cigarette. Because if you need it, you freaking need it. If you want it, you can then not want it. You have a choice. But if you literally need it, you still need it. And that's your crutch. And eventually you'll get to the place where you want it or not, but you're not there yet. And that's okay.
I was at that point once in my life because I had pneumonia so bad that I couldn't smoke without literally hurling. And that's what got me to quit the first time. Is I was literally so sick I couldn't smoke. And they showed me an x-ray of my lungs, and they're like, you need to quit smoking. So I did for a year and a half, 2 years, and I met my soon-to-be wife, and she was a smoker, and of course, ex-smokers me a smoker, and you're gonna go right back to that shit. It's there's no ifs, ands, or well, there was a but about it, but it's a cigarette butt. But I mean, it's just the way it goes, and so yeah, I mean, but as the doctor told me tonight, the power of a couple quitting is greater than the power of one person quitting. So you have each other
100%.
to rely on and to force each other to quit. So I say that after I just bought 2 cartons of cigarettes, but but
Well, the most
someday.
important thing I'll tell you is, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is a fact, there's a half a teaspoon of sugar in every cigarette. So what happens is you have taught your pancreas to meet the demand of the sugar coming in your system. So why people get irritable when they quit is they're experiencing low blood sugar. So you want to have, and that happens just for the first week. You want to have something low glycemic, like some carrots or some grapes, or have some lemon water, water with lemon, because it helps alkalize your body. But there's things that people can do, because a lot of people are afraid, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight if I quit smoking. But there's ways you can go about it where you don't. And that's the problem, is your body wants that sugar. But if you eat too much sugar, it's not good for you. So you find something that's low glycemic.
See, I'm a fat boy. Gaining weight is not something I really worry about. I've always been a fat boy. So I mean, I'm basically that one kid from It that freaking lost all the weight when he became an adult and still had to face his childhood fears. So I mean, it is what it is. But well, before we wrap up, though, you said we talked about manifestation a little bit. You said you had a secret to tell about manifestation. I kind of wanted to make sure we touch on that before we end it for the night.
So the secret of the sweet spot is literally between 500 up to 1,000, and that is love, joy, bliss, and enlightenment. And if you can line up with that, whatever you want to manifest, and visualize it and feel it and put it out there in the universe, that is the magical sweet spot. It truly is. And because you're rising above all the things in 3D, you're rising above all the 4D stuff, and you're creating what it is you want. So like for you with your house, what you can, because you want to manifest the money, you could visualize your house getting worked on. and that joy, and your wife is happy and you are happy and you feel that bliss and excitement and happiness. And let's say it's like where I need sheetrocking done, sheetrock, I need this done. So you can literally tell the universe, I'm going to use contractor trucks as my confirmation that this is happening. And so each time you would see one of those trucks, you'll just be like, yes. And you visualize in your mind, that this is happening. And you say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Every time you get a confirmation, you say thank you, because the universe is bringing you what it is you want. A good example of that is I worked with one guy that wanted to manifest 30 new clients in 30 days. And he only manifested 28. And he was so mad and disappointed. And I'm like, dude, 28. Last month you did 5. Be appreciative. Show your gratitude for the 28.
See,
why are you complaining?
You know how close you sit to home with that? I literally work in sales, and we have a new customer goal every quarter that we have to hit. I mean, it's low as shit. It's like 6,
Yeah.
but my boss literally said that in the last sales meeting, he's like, Jeremy hit 20 something freaking new customers already this quarter, and he's not even here half the time. Like, being a joke out of it, but still. And because my wife has a lot of appointments because she's pregnant. And the funny thing is, I hit like 27, 28 new customers this quarter because the quarter just ended 2 days ago. So I hit that this quarter because I just kept pushing for it because he said I had to do it. And even though he was joking, I knew he was kind of serious. And I'm like, yeah, I got to do it. So I literally hit that. Like, some of them were just pure fucking luck, but some of them were actual like work. So it's just funny how close you hit to home with that one. I love it. And all right. So I am gonna start looking for roofing company trucks because that's why I need done. That's me, my manifestation. I'm gonna start looking for roofing company trucks, and every when I see them, I get excited and know that my roof will get replaced eventually.
Yes.
Somehow,
some
way.
Roof. Literally visualize someone on your roof replacing it, tearing the old one off, putting the new one on, and you and your wife are so happy and joyful. You're like, oh yes, we got a new roof. Some people will be like, that's just woo-woo stuff, but no,
it's not.
It happens.
The universe works in mysterious ways, folks. Don't ever think it's woo-woo stuff. It's which is why I thought all this was in the 90s. But I learned my lesson, and I have talked to enough people to know it's not. I've seen enough experience in my own life to know it's not. So it's not woo-woo. That's, if you think it's woo-woo, then guess what? You're in a 3D consciousness still because you believe that. So there you go. But I want to thank Kerie for coming on, folks. This has been a fucking amazing episode. I could literally talk to her for another hour and not get tired of it. Well, if I wasn't dead exhausted personally myself, but I would be falling asleep. If I was talking to freaking Bigfoot himself, I'd probably be falling asleep right now. So, Kerie, where can people find you and your podcast if they want to reach out, if they want to listen, or if they want to reach out and try to get some of your services? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So I have 2 websites. The first one I started was Empowered Within. You can find me on there. I've got over 900 different audio recordings on there. Bunch of stuff. Got free stuff. You can find me on Instagram under Master the Upper Rooms. I have a website for Master the Upper Rooms that's got free audios, free images, free ebooks. My podcast is on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple. You can find it on there. And I do unpack the 3D, 4D, 5D. And I even have that great testimonial that I was sharing with you, Jeremy, about the woman that for a year and a half was trying to get pregnant. And then in 30 days after working with me, boom, she's pregnant, expecting a child, and she's 13 weeks pregnant. So yes.
There you go.
You can find me also on YouTube. I'm on YouTube, Empowered Within. And then I'm also on Insight Timer. That's a meditation app. And I got a bunch of free stuff on there as well. So there's many different places. You just Google my name. My name's not very common. You'll find all the stuff about me.
Well, there you go, folks. A shitload of information there. I'll try to put as much as I can in the podcast description so that all my listeners can go and find it. But feel free to send me all that so I have it. But
Yes.
other than that, folks, thank you for listening. All 11 or 13 of you that are on Twitter not commenting, shame! You can comment on Twitter now. How dare you? But I'm glad you enjoyed it. They stuck around the whole episode. Freaking awesome. Love seeing that many listeners. Love seeing that many watchers. It makes my heart glow like the freaking Grinch when his heart grew. Hopefully, it's not like the mean one where his heart explodes and he dies. But we'll see. If I'm not back tomorrow night for another interview, that's why. But you all know where you can find me by now. If you fucking don't, just shame. Shame. I will shame you all day. But check the outro. It's all there for the listeners and watchers. It's been scrolling across the screen for the last hour and 9 minutes, for fuck's sake. Do I need to tell you? Do I need to tell you? But come back tomorrow for another great interview. I think I got 2 this weekend for you guys. I know I've been out of the game for like a week now, but it's back on. It's good to go. We're freaking got a lot of great interviews coming up, so come check it out. I'm sure y'all learn a lot, and hopefully you do. If you're listening,
If you're listening.
But thank you, Kerie, for coming on. Kerie, Logan, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an amazing show. I will applause. But tune in tomorrow. Go ahead, please.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me on here. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. But folks, come back tomorrow, check out more. Hopefully I won't be as tired. We'll see. I gotta go pick up medication for that. But until then, have a good one, everybody.
Are you tired of the coffee crash? Still jitter an hour after your morning cup of coffee? Listen, I used to drink 5, 6, 7 cups a day to just keep going. The anxiety, the stomach pains, the afternoon crash, it was brutal. Then I discovered Rise Coffee, and everything changed. Rise has less than half the caffeine as regular coffee, but here's the magic. It contains 6 organic mushrooms, including cordyceps, lion's mane, and others that naturally sustain your energy without the jitters or crash. We're talking sharper focus, immune support, better gut health, and calm, sustained energy that lasts all day. Plus, it's organic, vegan, and has 0 added sugars. Unlike other mushroom coffees, Rise is USA grown in California. A full spectrum of mushrooms per serving that actually works. Here at Pod Nation, we only partner with brands we actually believe in. And Rise Coffee is the real deal. Head to risesuperfoods.com and use promo code PODNA15 for 15% off your order. That's PODNA 15 for 15% off. Ditch the crash. Fuel your day the right way with Rise Coffee.
You can find me on Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Instagram as @JugglerBastard, or should I say X now. And you can find me on TikTok as @JugglerBastard Podcast. You can also find me on YouTube as Paranormal the New Normal. And you can also find me streaming on YouTube as Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge is blind until they admit Bigfoot exists.